All right, let's get right into it. This is not your typical polished success story. Nope. This is the raw, kind of messy story of how some of the most brutal feedback you can imagine actually became the rocket fuel for a real AI revolution.
So, picture this. Our story starts with two founders. They're total rookies. They don't have a fancy background from some big-shot agency, no gold-plated credentials to their names. Just two people with a huge idea, deciding to build it right out in the open for everyone to see, mistakes and all.
And what was this big idea? Well, they wanted to completely blow up the old way of doing things in branding. Take this super expensive, exclusive world of brand strategy and just give it to everyone, using the power of AI.
And the way they did this was all based on one core concept: build in public. This isn't just about being transparent. It's about actively inviting people to poke holes in your work, sharing the wins, but more importantly, welcoming that raw, unfiltered feedback to get better and to do it fast. So they went and built their thing, AI Brand Consult. Think of it like having a top-tier brand strategist living in your computer. You just answer a few questions and boom, it spits out deep research, marketing plans, the whole shebang, in minutes, not months. So they put their baby out there, still a little rough around the edges, for the entire world to judge. They knew feedback was coming, but were they really ready for what they got?
Oof, that one had to hurt. The first wave of feedback came in and it was brutal. SaaS, by the way, just means software as a service. Like a tool you pay for online monthly. And this comment basically said their revolutionary AI looked cheap. Like really cheap. This wasn't just about aesthetics. It was a direct hit to their credibility.
And it just kept coming. The next bit of feedback really drilled down into the user experience. People were saying there was way too much information, it was confusing, and here's the killer, they didn't trust it. The very tool that was supposed to bring clarity was just creating more confusion. Now this is the exact moment where most new projects just die. The ego definitely took a beating, no doubt about it. But because they were building in public, this flood of criticism wasn't a stop sign. It was the absolute best fuel they could have asked for.
So, what do you do when your product gets roasted? Well, instead of hiding away to redesign it, they decided to solve the problem the same way they started, with more AI.
Okay, this part is just genius. To fix that budget look and the information overload, they didn't just go hire a design agency. No, they built a brand new AI agent, a UI/UX expert, trained specifically to fix the exact problems people were complaining about.
And this new AI agent was an absolute monster. It went to work on every single piece of feedback they got. It audited the whole site, colors, spacing, user flow. It suggested ways to make it look more professional, simplified the navigation, and even told them where to add things like testimonials to build trust. It even helped clarify the pricing. This was AI fighting back against criticism.
And this just lays it all out, right? The old way of doing branding meant huge fees, waiting forever, and dealing with a handful of industry gatekeepers. Their new way, it's instant, it's driven by AI, you can change things on the fly, and it's all completely out in the open. They didn't just fix a website, they proved their whole concept was right.
So, okay, that's a cool story for one company. But what's the bigger lesson here? What does this tell all of us about the new rules for building something awesome today?
Well, here's kind of the new playbook this story writes for us. It proves that feedback isn't failure, it's just data. It shows that AI is making expert-level skills available to everyone, and it proves that the future doesn't belong to the people with the biggest budgets, but to the people who are brave enough to build in public and just execute on what they learn, faster than everybody else. And hey, if you need hard proof that this whole raw, messy, transparent approach actually works, it all comes down to this one number. 1. What's that? That's the number of paying customers they got before they even officially launched. Even with a website that people said looked cheap, the tool itself was so valuable that someone was willing to pay for it on the spot. So this kind of leaves us with one final thought. We're all conditioned to be terrified of failure, right? To avoid harsh criticism. But this story, it shows that criticism might just be the most powerful ingredient we have for creating something amazing. So the real question is, what incredible thing is just waiting for you on the other side of your next piece of brutal feedback?